biggest stories, and don't miss us on The Herd weekdays at 12 Eastern. Catch it all right here Monday through Friday on FS1.
Cold and flu season, try Vicks Sinex nasal spray. Uses direct that lasts up to 12 hours. Vicks Sinex nasal spray. Very good. All right, Mark Schlereth, 3 Super Bowls, multiple-time Pro Bowler, knows all about playoffs. So let's go to Sunday's games. Early game out west. Out east, it starts at 1 in the afternoon. Chargers and the Ravens. I'll give you my theory on this. Lamar Jackson has a Tebow quality. The first time you meet him, you don't know what to make of it. But if you can face him again within a month, he's easier to defend because it's so different than the rest of the NFL. My lean is the Chargers here. I think they have the best roster in the league. They get Lamar's not complex but unique offense for the second time in a month. I'll take the Chargers. What say you?
I'll go the opposite. We're going opposite on all these games. I think in regards to Lamar, they're interesting. They're running essentially a triple option offense. And when I did their game a few weeks ago, studying their film, now I 30 years in the NFL, 12 as a player, 18 years as a broadcaster, and I blocked for a 2,000-yard rusher. I have never seen more gaping chasms in the running game than I ever saw. Like, each one was bigger than the next. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a huge hole. Oh my, that's the biggest hole I've ever seen. Wait, no, that's the biggest hole I've ever seen. It's unreal. And what they've done a great job of is their ability on the play side to get extra offensive players up to the second level. So they're optioning one person, meaning they're not blocking one person, but they're using a jet sweep motion or a tight end across the formation to influence that defensive end that they're going to option, then get him up to the second level. And if you split the field in half, and if they've got 5 defenders on this side of the field where they're running toward, they'll have 7 blockers, and then they'll be using the quarterback as the runner. I'm telling you, it's a freak show. So everybody says, hey, Tyreek Hill, we saw him once. Now we know how fast he is. Yeah, he's still running by everybody. Like, this Ravens offense is so unique, and it messes with your eyes. But that's not even the part that makes them better. That's what we focus on because it's offense, right? And it's unique. Defensively, the Ravens are legitimate. They have kind of Hall of Fame caliber players on every level of their defense. And when you look at them, I mean, they were number 1 or number 2 in just about essentially every category. Historically, they'd be one of the great defenses we've ever watched. They just don't turn the ball over. But when they played in L.A. against the Chargers, week 15, I think it was. No, 16. Week 16. I think Phillip Rivers had 160 yards passing, and they had about 60 yards rushing. I think they did about 220 total yards against that defense. That defense is legit, and we're just looking over it because, of the sideshow type of offense that they're running.
All right, so we disagree again. Philadelphia, Chicago, I'm going to go out on a whim here. I think I'm probably wrong. I would bet Philadelphia. They're plus 6.5 points. I think Philadelphia is talented. I think their D-line's the best in football. I think they have veterans in key spots. I think the weakness of the Eagles' secondary won't be exploited by Chicago. I know it's a Sunday night game in Chicago. I know it's just built for Chicago to blow out Philadelphia. There's going to be an upset this week. I'll roll the dice and say Philadelphia shocks the world.
Really?
Yeah.
So you and I are diametrically opposed on every pick.
So you love Chicago.
I just think I'm going back throughout history, like the 85 Bears and that defense and what they were able to accomplish. Then the 2000 Ravens, dragging an offense along with them for the ride. The 2013 Seattle Seahawks with the Legion of Boom. The 2015 Denver Broncos with the no-fly zone. This Chicago Bears defense, they're legit. They shut everybody out. They're the number 1 defense in football, and they're listed as a 3-4 defense, but they really play a 5-2, meaning they've got 5 defenders across the line of scrimmage, giving them one-on-ones across the board. You've got to find a way to double-team Khalil Mack with a back, with a tight end, either slide protection. It means guys like Hicks are one-on-one, Floyd on the other side are one-on-one. They get these one-on-one matchups, and they just absolutely crush you. They get to your quarterback before you can exploit their secondary. They've got good players in the secondary and the linebacker core as well. They're just a different animal. And it's funny because traveling around the league and talking to people and calling games, when you talk to guys who play, Von Miller is a phenomenal player. And one of the questions I have, because I live in Denver, well, Von Miller, Khalil Mack, pick your poison. I talked to a bunch of offensive linemen, general managers. Every one of them took Khalil Mack. Said he is a different beast. Like the strongest person I've ever played against. Like, he'll lift you up in practice. I had one of the Chicago Bears say, he has lifted me up in practice with one hand and took both feet off the ground. He's like absolute freak show. So I look at their defense. They shut down the Rams. They've shut down the, pretty potent offenses that they faced. I think this defense is good enough to keep this game close. They'll make enough plays on the offensive side of the ball with the design of Matt Nagy, who's been absolutely incredible with Chicago. I think they make enough plays to exploit that secondary. I think Chicago wins this.
So he disagreed on all four.
All four.
So by the way, I know who's going to win the NBA. I know who's going to end up in the national championship in college football. I have no idea.
Isn't that the beauty of professional football?
I love it. I think this is it. Joy and I have talked about this. Her brother's a Hall of Famer. You and I are old enough, and Joy, you watched this game for 2 decades, and I've watched it for 3.5. I've never seen a year like this. I've never seen a year where in week 17, we were playing for seeding. Week 17 is a bye week for the good teams.
Right.
And there's maybe one lousy team that sneaks in. The worst team in the playoffs, you could argue, is the Colts are the least impressive, and they have the best defensive rookie. By the way, Quentin Nelson just made the Pro Bowl 10 minutes ago, and Andrew Luck's the hottest quarterback in the league.
Yeah, all-pro.
There's
Voted
no
all-pro.
doubt.
He made the Pro Bowl. Voted all-pro.
A rookie for the Colts.
Right.
So their best players are often young. I mean, every single team in the playoffs, because I'm not doubting Nick Foles anymore, everybody's dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's shift to this. Now, judgment's a big deal to me. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this the other day with Joy. You ever meet a woman and you think the world of her, and then you meet her husband and he's a dope, and you're like, she's got bad judgment. I think less of her. Or vice versa. Is that Josh McDaniels in New England traded up to get Tebow. I said the second it happened, he doesn't know what he's doing. Mm. He then was offered the Colts job with Chris Ballard, the best young GM, and Andrew Luck, and he passed on that. This morning he said, according to sources, the Cleveland job's the one he wants. Cleveland is the one he wants. Mm. Am I nuts to think he's crazy? I question his judgment. He passed on Andrew Luck. He wants the Cleveland job.
Right.
Do you think the Cleveland job's amazing?
Yeah, I think the Cleveland job is really good.
Do you know who owns that team?
Well, yeah. I mean, ownership.
You play for Pat Bowlen.
Right.
A legendary owner. Yes. Ownership matters. Denver's like the Bentley of the AFC for years. Ownership.
Yeah.
You trust Cleveland's ownership?
I trust John Dorsey, their general manager, if he's in charge and he's given the keys to the franchise. That I do trust. I will say this, having called one of Cleveland's games, several different things. I think their roster is stacked. There has been a benefit to being bad for so many years.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of good players. Defensively, Myles Garrett's great. Larry Ogunjobi. I call him Obi-Wan Ogunjobi.
Denzel Ward.
Yeah, Denzel
Myles
Ward.
Garrett. Yeah. Nick Chubb.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty loaded. They're inside three with Zeitler and Treader and they're inside three guard to guard. Very good. They're just a really good roster. I think Njoku, the tight end, has
terrific.
He's just unbelievable. He reminded me a taller version of a young Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
When I was at practice, I was like, oh my God, the athleticism.
He's a Pro Bowl tight end. He'll be Travis Kelce, and that kid in Cleveland will be the Pro Bowl tight end for the next 6 years.
And then I'm telling you, I sat with John Dorsey and I watched Baker Mayfield, and I was one of those guys coming out of college going, I don't trust the college system. I don't trust the RPO game, the single receiver reads, and all that stuff. One, incredible mind-wise. Like talking to Kitchens, our offensive coordinator, he's like, I can give him anything and I can tag every single route. So when you call, when you call any type of offense, so you're like double wing right, Y left motion, and then you get into whatever the route combination is. You can tag everyone. I want Y corner, halfback burst, Y corner, and he can tag every X comeback. He can tag every single route. He doesn't need. Most of the time you just give a name to that, like you all go special. You just give the name and everybody has to know what they're doing. He can tag every single route. He knows everything there is to know about the offense. And the general manager goes, hey, I'll just tell you one thing, man. He's a leader. He's got everybody on his side, and the kid's all balls. That's what he said to me. Like, So, I mean,
Maybe I should start liking him.
well, I'm telling you what.
I got to go.
He's pretty